Hey guys, this is Pyra. I just came back from Pax East 2023 last week, and I just wanted to show a little bit of what I saw there and give you guys a little review. So PAX is a gaming exposition that takes place usually in kind of like end of winter, beginning of spring. The one that I go to every year is Pax East in Boston, Massachusetts. And that's because I live in Massachusetts myself. It's super convenient and easy to get to. In years since the pandemic, there's been a lot less of the big game developers coming out and a lot more of indie games. And last year, 2022, it seemed a little bit sketchy whether PAX was going to keep being strong, especially since it lost a lot of the big corporations coming into the space. But this year really proved that PAX is only growing and growing. There's been a lot of love and support for indie games lately, and it was definitely shown this year at PAX. So at PAX, there's so many things that you can do. You can try new games. Games that are either in beta or have already come out, and kind of do a nice test through there. They usually have both keyboard and mouse as well as controller. So if you're a console or PC player, you can usually feel some sort of comfortability. There are a lot of panels, which can be everything from game dev talks to new releases or new trailers to community-led topics and industry topics, which is pretty cool. A lot of community meetups happen here too, whether it be cosplay community meetups or just fandoms in general. There are concerts that are held usually later in the evenings, community events and engagement both at PAX and at outside venues during the PAX weekend. There are a lot of community groups that'll meet up at a bar or another location to just kind of meet with their fellow community members. There's also the Omegathon and other competitive tournaments that happen at PAX, which is really cool. They usually get broadcasted online as well, but just a little bit of something for everyone, honestly. They even had some stages available with interactive open games like Jackbox Party, Let's Dance, kind of just a little bit of everything for everyone to enjoy. So one of the things, probably my favorite thing that I got to do at PAX this year would be go to the Final Fantasy XIV panel. Again, that's just because I am in love with the game. But for me, it was really cool being able to see the director-producer come over from Japan all the way to our little city in Boston, Massachusetts, and just hear him talk and know there was nothing new about the game that was coming out, but just really have like a panel, like a simple Q&A. It was a really cool experience. The one thing that was really crazy though was the line. I could not believe how many people were standing in line for that panel, and knowing that that panel was going to happen in advance really helped us make sure that we were there and that we got in line for the panel, because it is not something that I would have been happy missing. So the only concert I was able to go to was the Brigade concert, if I'm saying that correctly, and they were awesome. We only caught maybe 20 minutes to a half an hour of their set, but they were covering Mega Man songs, or songs from the game that as someone was playing. So someone was playing the game and they were playing live. And it was really cool seeing a rock band up there kind of playing these old school video games. I know my husband really loved some of the songs that they were playing, and just having that experience there was really unique and cool. And that's really not something that you can get outside of an event like PAX. One of the most unique experiences that I've had at PAX, or really any convention I've ever been to, was at this indie game booth. The game hasn't even come out yet, but it is called Unleaving, and that's a game that you can find on Steam as well. It's a puzzle platformer that they are building, and what's really cool about the backgrounds is that they're all hand painted. And something that they had set up at PAX was a canvas and paint, and they were inviting people to just come up and participate and paint the backgrounds that they're going to be using in the game, which is super rad. I'm an artist, I'm a painter specifically, so this stopped me instantly. It stopped me in my tracks, and a lot of booths usually do something very creative, very hands-on for people to come by and test, but this is by far one of the most unique experiences that I've ever seen, especially at a video game convention. And as someone who is both a gamer and an artist, this was just really like the perfect marriage for me and the perfect experience to have. One of the last things that I got to do at PAX that was just kind of something I wasn't expecting was cosplay photography. So I do some photography outside of my normal 9 to 5, and I've really thought about doing portraits lately, and I put a shout out to the Facebook group about some cosplay portraits just to see if I got any bites. And I was able to hook up with some really cool people to get some portrait work in there. And it was just really cool. It just kind of solidifies that community aspect of PAX to me that I think is very unique to the gaming community. I had a lot of fun. The cosplayers that I worked with had a lot of fun, and just kind of solidifies also the whole concept that really there is something for everyone. Doesn't matter how much you're into games or what kind of games you're into or fandoms or what have you, you will find something to do at PAX that you will love. So I wanted to go over my pros and cons list for PAX. Now, my pros list is way bigger than the cons list, but I think it's good to just kind of put the expectations out there and kind of my thoughts and feedback after going to PAX for several years now. So for the pros, if you go on the less busy days, if you have the option of going on like a Thursday or a Friday, you can usually try a lot of the games on the exhibit hall floor, or at least have the option to try them right away without waiting in a huge line. There are a lot of giveaways. A lot of companies are giving away everything from full PC builds to keyboards to game codes themselves to merchandise. Just a lot of free giveaways that you can enter either at the show or scan a code and enter it online. As I mentioned slightly before, there's really something for everyone, especially now with a lot of the big game companies backing out. The PAX floor has been able to kind of expand a little bit. What used to be just an indie mega booth is now pretty much the entire floor of PAX. There are a lot of tables set up for board games and card games. There are party games. There is just really something for everyone. If you're someone that likes to go to panels, every day is chock full of panels. If you're someone who just kind of likes to come and go as they please, you'll probably be able to find something at PAX. Now, speaking of kind of something for everyone, one thing that I really liked and I really wanted to touch on as a pro was the accessibility that PAX has. Now, PAX has a lot of accessibility options for people with disabilities. And one of the things that I noticed that I thought was amazing was an area, kind of like a quiet room upstairs that you can go either if you're someone with autism or anxiety or really anything that you would be overstimulated and you needed to find a quiet area to relax, to kind of get away from the hustle and bustle. And that's one of the things that I've seen in recent years that I've really loved. Another pro is special deals on games and devices. Usually you can go into most any of the areas and get a really good coupon code. Sometimes you can get specials for buying certain things at PAX. So it's really something to take advantage of while you're there. There are a lot of freebies in general. So as soon as you walk in, there are free lanyards. I know Square Enix and like the Final Fantasy brand has taken over that for quite some time now. But usually you can always get lanyards, posters, stickers, buttons, etc. from tables. Sometimes it's as easy as walking up and grabbing it. Other times you just play the game for a little bit and they will give you something for free, depending on the developer. So the coolest freebie that I got this year from PAX was actually from DoorDash Gaming, which I didn't know was a thing until I saw that they sponsored PAX, which was really cool. But either way, they had a booth set up that if you subscribe to their Dash Pass service, you could get a free t-shirt or tote bag with your gamer tag put on the front, which was really cool. They had some customizable options, and just getting a free customized shirt was really the last thing that I expected at PAX, but it was awesome and it was free. Now, if you're someone who is very community-based, you're gonna love going to PAX. There are a lot of community meetups, both inside and outside of the venue. A lot of cosplayers, which is really cool if you are in certain fandoms. I know for me, I'm a Final Fantasy XIV nerd, if you haven't noticed, and there were a lot of Final Fantasy XIV characters, cosplayers at the event, which was super awesome to just see everyone's cosplays. And speaking about the community, one of the great things about PAX 2 is you can usually pick up conversations with strangers, and it feels like you have so much in common. I feel like that's something about gamers in the gaming space that's truly unique, is that you can just start a conversation with random people that you've never met before, that you might never even see again in your life, and have something in common. Because a lot of the people who go to these events are very passionate. You know, I'm one of them myself. I'm very passionate about the games that I play, and it was very cool, such a very awesome experience to be able to be standing in line next to people never met before and being able to strike up a conversation with them. Now, speaking of conversations, one thing that I've done at a lot of PAX conventions, and even at this past one, was just have the opportunity to meet and talk to developers, especially with a lot of indie games now. You see a lot of these developers on the floor, the ones who are creating the games, and it's just really cool to talk to them about their games, what their thought process behind everything is, and to just talk and hang out. It's such a surreal experience. Now, to keep this list in no particular order, one of the next pros that I see at PAX is the food. There is a lot of awesome food in Boston, and they always have a plethora of food trucks right there ready to serve you, which is really great because sometimes the upstairs kind of con areas can be a little expensive, and B, honestly, I think food trucks are way better. You can get a lot of different options and usually at a better price, and you're supporting local business. In general, some of my pros of drought just kind of PAX, the location that it is that it's in the heart of Boston. So if you've never been to Boston before, or if you have and you just love being in that area, it's the heart of a city. So you get to have things that you can experience that are a walk away, maybe the train ride away, like really great museums. I'm also an art nerd, so I know the Institute of Contemporary Art is within a 10 to 15 minute walking distance from the convention hall, which is pretty cool. A lot of great restaurants and venues. So even if you're just in PAX for a few days, you can really make it kind of like a mini vacation. If you're traveling from afar, one of the great things too is that the airport is not that far away. I've never had to take Logan Airport to get to the PAX convention because obviously I live just an hour and a half, 2 hours away, so I drive into town. But it's really cool that everything is just so close and so easily accessible with public transportation. Going back to some of the games things that I really enjoy about PAX, sometimes you don't know what game to play and you get a little overwhelmed. And so one of the things that you can do is go to the free play areas. They have free play areas for PC, console, and also some handheld games, even some old retro games. There's usually always a free play area. So you can hop on to a device and just get to pick a game as you're there. You don't have to commit to standing in a long line for just one game. You can sit down, play something. If you're not liking it after 5 minutes, you can switch to something else. Kind of gives you a little bit more options. Now, some of the developers also have their own room set up instead of just a booth on the floor. This year, one of the creators that we got to take advantage of in their own area was Wayfinder. Now, I'm extremely excited for Wayfinder. I've been following Digital Extremes since about 2014, 2015 with Warframe. And I know that pretty much everything that they produce is awesome. And I'm excited to see what else they have. And as I haven't gotten a beta code yet, it was really cool to just be able to jump in and play the game at PAX and to just try it out. It was a really cool experience. And one of the cool things, probably one of the last big things about PAX that I can say that's awesome, is that you will always have something to do. Doors open at 10 a.m. And for the first 3 days of the event, they don't close until midnight. Now, the floor closes at around 6 p.m. So once the exhibit halls close, that's it for that. But as far as the PAX event itself is going on, there is something from 10 a.m. until midnight. There are concerts, there are panels, there are community meetups, just about a little bit of something for everybody. And you can make PAX as much or as little of an experience as you'd like it to be. Now, we can't talk about the pros without mentioning some of the cons. Again, I said my cons list is not as big, but there are some cons about PAX that I'd like to share, and I feel like it would be bad of me not to at least mention them or give them a little bit of light. One of them is just the fact that some days can get crazy busy, which might not be a bad thing. It also means that PAX is getting the love that it needs to continue for years down the road. But I found that Saturdays are a really congested day for PAX, and that's why I haven't gone Saturdays in the past couple of years, because I find it to be a little more congested than I would like to experience. Another thing that is really tough about PAX, kind of one of the cons that I have, which is inevitable, but it's that merchandise goes extremely quickly. I had one incident where I tried buying a PAX merchandise sweater on day one on Thursday, and I waited until after lunchtime and it was already sold out for the entire show. Now, some merch booths will hold merchandise and split it up between the 4 days, and others, it's just as soon as it goes, it goes. There is no restocking. So really, if you have anything that you really want to buy, try to buy it as soon as possible, especially if it's merchandise, because there is no guarantee that they will have it for the entirety of the show. With both of those cons in mind, I think your best bet is to look at the schedule, look at what vendors are going before the start of PAX, before the Thursday, because you're going to want to have at least a loose game plan of who you want to see first and what merch booths you might want to hit up first, so that you get that experience in at the beginning and you don't have to worry about losing out later on. Now, my last con is kind of a big one, but it really depends on your situation. It's about the price. So PAX overall, I don't think is a bad price. This year, it was about $65 per day, which if you compare it to something like going to a venue like a Six Flags or another amusement park or something like that, it's really not that expensive. It's really very comparable, but that's also going to depend on everybody's financial position. One of the pricey parts about going to this event can be if you're booking a hotel at all, and if you want to book a hotel closer to the venue, you're paying a premium ticket price. You're paying in the $200, $300 plus a night, which can get expensive if you decide to go all 4 days. My best advice is just to do your research and plan ahead and budget what's best for you. For me, I am more comfortable spending more money to get to a hotel within walking distance, because I'm somebody who has less time and I want something that's more convenient, closer, so that I don't have to worry about driving through the city, through the traffic, having to find a place to park every day. I am a creature of convenience. And so sometimes that means budgeting out more money for a hotel just to have that convenience. So that is my review of PAX East 2023. If you went to PAX, let me know what you thought. If I missed anything that you did go to or experience, I would love to hear in the comments below. If you haven't been to PAX and you have questions about anything, either the area or the event itself, also put them in the comments below. And if you want to see more game reviews or event reviews, hit the subscribe button, follow me on Twitch. I stream at least 5 times a week on Twitch, and I'm trying to build up my YouTube channel a little bit more with a lot of short clips from Twitch and a lot of meme content mostly, and hopefully some review content in the near future. So let me know what you think, and thanks for watching. Take care.